Welcome back. We'll be starting the front page review with The Nation major headline. Obi lacks right to contest my victory, Tinubu tells Tribunal. And in other news, a really sad story, building collapse, many feared, trapped under collapsed Lagos building. Presidential poll, most credible in Nigeria's history. Observers report high, beavers, reports rates beavers high, says Keyamo others. And how Obi was detained in London by aid, he was impersonated. G5 governors mini convention plan deepens PDP crisis. National Stadium Surulere, the hard facts. IMF list ways out of currency inflation crisis. Third mainland bridge for repairs with 6.2 billion naira. Protest in OAU over killing of students. Gunmen kidnap, kill police inspector. So which story are we, the OAU?
No, let me start with the Federal Executive Council yesterday approving various contracts totaling about 41.872 billion for roads under the Ministry of Works and Housing, as well as equipment for the Nigerian Customs Service. So the Ministry of Works and Housing got about 23 billion for two memoranda that they presented. One is the augmentation for a road between Enugu and Anambra State and repairs on the third mainland bridge in Lagos. They said that for the third mainland bridge, it will be costing them about 6.28 billion, and that will entail fixing surface failings, which was not glaring at the time they did the last repairs, but now they have to fix it. That was also after they have revised their contract. The second one was also about old Enugu-Onitsha Road from Obi Junction all the way to Udioji, to Anambra boundary in Enugu State. The augmentation they did for that was about 17 billion, and they are going to be fixing that as well. So for the third mainland bridge, after the approval, it's going to be taking them about 24 months to repair the bridge. And this is in line with the executive order of continued maintenance of public infrastructure. We have to keep doing this, yes, so that it doesn't degenerate and we can no longer have access to the bridge. The bridge is the only link from island to mainland.
Not the only one. There's...
Okay, that one has been...
If anything happens to that bridge...
No, the
Eco one, there's work.
has been burnt.
Yes, and
work
work
is going on.
Ongoing.
So I hope that they would balance this so that the Eco bridge will already be fully... There are two... We'll have the two alternatives up before we start this.
There's Carter Bridge.
Yes, so there are two alternatives. This is the third.
Third mainland is the third.
And we're still waiting for the fourth mainland.
It's coming.
How Obi was detained in London. He got to London and he went for the Easter break, and he was on the queue when the immigration officials came and took him away. And they said, apparently, according to his media aide, they said somebody had been impersonating him in London. So they had to find out whether he was the impersonator or whether he was the real Obi. That was the reason the media aid gave us. But they said what happened was the Nigerians that were on the flight now started, making noise. That, no, this is our person. So those ones who are looking, no, you can't arrest him. So,
but that is
but I like the sense of ownership that Nigerians feel towards, a lot of Nigerians feel towards Obi, and I think we need to feel that way towards Nigeria as a whole, because if we take ownership of our country, whoever leads will know that they are on their toes to ensure that they make it work. Yeah. Good or bad.
I'm just wondering who dares impersonate someone that is so out in the open like that. Such a huge public figure.
It's such a terrible thing, because I remember once the British Embassy came to our house, and they came because a friend of my brother had gone and applied for his British passport.
Impersonating your brother?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow, strange.
Can you imagine? So it is because Femi was a known person that they came. And it was his friend.
That's a story for
another day.
I'm telling you, I've got the OA student. So I took a story yesterday about a student who was lynched and killed at OA at the Obafemi Awolowo University. When I took it yesterday, we're not given the name, so more details are is out now. They said he's a 500-level civil engineering student. This breaks my heart. And his name was Okoli Ahize. They said, as you remember, the story I took is that he was lynched on the allegation of theft, that he had taken a mobile, he had stolen a mobile phone. Anyways, right now, investigation is ongoing, but his colleagues were protesting yesterday, and they said it caused a gridlock. They were protesting the murder. They've asked and they've demanded that the investigation panel that has been set up by the Vice Chancellor must include them so that they can all, work together in unraveling the circumstances surrounding this boy's death. The Dean Students Affairs urged them to also exercise patience with the school management. I think that they should not embark on actions that would cause crisis in the school. Really sad as it unravels.
We're hoping that this would, once they get justice concerning this, it will just send a clear message to the people within environment.
I don't know why do we do that?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not even sure the guy stole the phone.
Exactly.
Then after they beat him, they didn't even take him to the hospital. They took him and put him inside the Students' Union building.
Let me take the quick story about presidential polls being the most credible in history. That's according to the Minister for Labour States, Festus Keyamo. And he was speaking also on jury. They were all speaking at the Washington National Press Center, Washington, D.C. And they mentioned that empirical evidence shows that this presidential election on the 25th of February was the most credible election ever, that the observers rated Beavers high, said that only 8% voters were not satisfied with the electoral process, according to the NBA. They also mentioned that international observers said that the Beaver system worked and it didn't fail. But that's the story according to them. I'm sure the Nigerians would have their perspective. Let's move on to the Punch. Let me just read the headline for the Punch. Major headline, CBN Forex Ban. Nigerians imported 18 trillion cooking oil, meat, others in 7 years. That's from a report. Importers ordered are Greek animal products, others from Asia, EU, African countries. Once again, the picture of the Banana Island 7-story building collapsed. Lagos alleges structure lacks permit. Atiku dismisses exile plan, slam protesters. Police arrest 2 over OAU students' death. Lagos Ibadan Stadium owes 950 million electricity bill. Wow. Federal government to repay World Bank 800 million loan for 25 years. Doctors in diaspora petition National Assembly over anti-migration bill. And Senate probes Accountant General over 74 billion naira funds. Every story here is important.
Yeah, so let's do the major headline. So Nigerians imported not less than 9 items worth 18.12 trillion from the Forex Ban list of the Central Bank of Nigeria between 2016, I like the way you giggled, and 2022, according to the Punch. So they said the CBN had categorized about 41 import items as not valid for Forex, which means that the importer will not be able to access Forex to do such
through the banks.
Through the banks, but they can source for the black market. They said one of the reasons they are doing this restriction is a part of an effort to sustain the stability of the foreign exchange market, ensure effective utilization of foreign exchange and derivation of optimum benefits from goods and services imported into the country. So they said these items were not banned or prohibited by the Nigerian Customs Service, but they can still be imported if you can source for your funds. But according to their analysis, they said the items were crude, palm oil, vegetable products, animal products, meats, vegetable fats and oil, steel products, rubber, plastics, clothes, textiles, which was imported or were imported from different countries. But they went ahead to break down the amount of money spent to get that. However, the director of Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, Muda Yusuf, said the Forex Ban lists by the central bank is an aberration, saying that the banned items were legally acknowledged by the nation's trade policy documents. The CBN has no right to be selecting what you can import.
But they don't have enough
Forex.
money. So.
Yeah, they should just say they don't have enough money to give, and then make a list of people waiting in line to get money than saying you cannot access this amount of access Forex from us at this rate because you are getting these items. So he said it's confusing. The law is actually confusing. They should clear it out. The CBN has no powers to do such.
I just can't wait for us to have enough Forex. Let's take a quick break. Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the news from the front pages of the newspaper. All right, we were in Punch. Who had the story about the collapsed building?
Yeah, I have that story. A building collapsed in Banana Island yesterday. 7 stories. And apparently there are no fatalities. Casualties, yes, but no fatalities. There's only one, according to the rescue team, they said there's only one victim that is still trapped under the rubble, and they're doing their best to rescue him. There are various degrees of injuries, but the Lagos State brought out a statement yesterday saying the building didn't have approval.
And he got to 7 stories.
And it has reached 7 stories. In fact, they were just actually casting the
Floor.
7th floor when the
until the civil servants are meant to inspect this building, start losing jobs and being sentenced to prison. That it won't change, because there are people whose job is to supervise, to monitor, to give approval per time, and they've been there, they live, they've been there, they live. Banana Island is not a small place where you will not know when a building is going up.
I don't understand.
And it's all building
and
for
they
that
said, I think Lagos, in the last, how many years, they've had 115 building collapses according to from the building collapse prevention, says, has recorded a staggering 115 building collapse in the past 10 years. And in 2022 alone, 20.
Wow. So it's getting worse. We are dropping the quality of our buildings. Mariam?
Yes, I have the story of the National Stadium here in Lagos and the Obafemi Awolowo Stadium in Ibadan. And they say the sports minister, Sunday Dare, is letting us know that this stadium owes a staggering 950 million naira in electricity bill only. He said that as of 5 years ago, the National Stadium Lagos owed 600 million in electricity bills, while the Obafemi Awolowo Stadium owed about 350 million. They said they had to pay 150 million for water to be restored at the Ibadan Stadium. And then he said that the correspondent for this report was saying that they also learned that the electricity distribution company was so frustrated that it has even stopped sending bills since 2018 because nothing was happening. And the Minister for Sports says that the rot at the Lagos Stadium is, heartbreaking. He said most of the things, he said the main bowl, pitch, tartan track, scoreboard, courtesy, so many things, have just dilapidated. And he says that a lot of work is being done, and is done courtesy of the billionaire businessman Kensington Adebutu's 400 million naira sponsorship. But he says even with this, there's still a lot more that needs to be done. He cannot run faster than the amount of money. That what's the plans that he has for the stadium, they don't have the money to meet up with the plans. He said the thing is that it's a carcass that's left. Everything has been stolen and taken away. He says if you go into the control room where all the things like for the electricity is meant to be, they've stolen everything. There's just nothing left. He said to fix it alone.
I'm sitting on Murayo's chair, so I have to speak on our behalf. We the people. We the people. The stadium belongs to all Nigerians, and some people are not stealing.
So he says the electrical problems, because the connection that's important. So the electrical connection that they need to do is supposed to help with the sprinklers, scoreboard, floodlights, and all these things cannot be fixed without them getting at least 10 billion naira.
Additional.
There's just so much more that he says that, that they need. And
because first of all, I was going to say he's the minister.
Yes.
And I don't know how long, he's been the minister for, I think, maybe 4 years at least.
Almost.
So he should have known this problem at the beginning of his term.
Yeah, he knows.
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. I used that stadium as a kid, and I know how good that stadium was then.
Yes.
The pool, everything. And the decay has become,
over many years.
Systematic over the years,
Ignored.
And it has been ignored. That's why I say I can't blame him alone. All the governments that have come from that time to now,
And then we blame ourselves with the people. Moving on to Daily Sun. 25% FCT votes not needed to win presidency. That's from INEC. Tells tribunal it can declare winner without recourse to beavers, electronic transmission, others. New National Assembly leadership. APC to unveil zoning formula after Ramadan. Obi raises alarm over impersonation, framing plot in UK. FEC approves 6 billion for Third Mainland Bridge maintenance, reviews old Enugu-Onitsha road contract by 17 billion. Many injured as 7-story building collapses in Lagos. Diri Ayamu emerge Bayelsa Imo PDP governorship candidates. Labour crisis. States chairman stop Apapa-led National Working Committee from entering party headquarters. And what story are we? It seems like we've taken all the stories in Sun. So let's move on to Vanguard or Tribune. Let's do Tribune. Tribune, major headline, Nigerian Tribune. Obi's impersonators may implicate him. Labour Party raises alarm. My son, not a Yahoo boy. Mother of killed boy by mob in Ondo cries out. Police arrest 2 over killing of OAU undergraduate. We've taken that story. Nance threaten civil disobedience over school fees hike and subsidy removal. And APC adopts direct primary for Kogi governorship election. We're waiting till after Ramadan. Senate spokesperson for APC's 10th National Assembly leadership. All right, Oyo Assembly gives Makinde approval to deduct 5% for stamp duty recovery. What story are we taking?
The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, are threatening to mobilize its members and Nigerians to embark on civil disobedience and ground Nigeria's economy to a halt if the federal government goes ahead to remove the fuel subsidy. So they called on the federal and state government to immediately order a reversal of hike in school fees by some high institutions or be prepared to face the wrath of over 40 million students. They had a certain agenda for the incoming administration, and they are demanding that the budgetary allocation to the education sector should be 26% in line with UNESCO's recommendation. And that is all that they want. And also the fact that some school fees, some institutions have increased their fees. They say the ordinary Nigerian can no longer afford to send their children to school. About 30% of students have dropped out because they could no longer pay their fees. And so the government must not remove subsidy. People are not ready to take on the hardship right now. Some places, they are still selling fuel for about 350 to 400 per litre when there's scarcity. If they remove this fuel subsidy to go from 600 to 750, Nigerians cannot afford to pay for that. Yes, and so the 800 billion now that they are receiving to give palliatives, yes, to Nigerians should be rejected. They should focus on building refineries. There are some states already that are beginning to have, they've discovered oil like Benue, Kogi, and some other states. They should build refineries there before they finally remove the subsidy. And this is their demands.
You know that I read inside Guardian this morning that they are opening an office.
They are setting up
a complete office to
manage this small
to employ staff.
This 800 billion that they are is a loan.
Collecting, yes, that they will pay back.
That they will pay back.
With interest.
An office that's going to cost them $53 million. I don't know how we think.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a very sad story. This is a heartbreaking story. I think it was BC that took a story yesterday about a 35-year-old man who was lynched to death by a mob for crushing 2 persons. The mother is speaking. She says that her son was an Uber driver. He was accused of being a Yahoo boy and a ritualist. She says her son is an Uber driver. He's never been a Yahoo boy. She explained that his vehicle had a mechanical issue which made him ram into the commercial motorcycle and that the mob now attacked him. She said that she explained how he finished school, moved to Lagos, was trying to hustle, got an Uber. A few years later, his father put money, he bought another Uber. He says his family came to visit. So he, his wife and kids came to visit her.
God.
And that she now said to him, wait a few more days, because she looked at him, he looked quite stressed. She wanted him to relax.
Rest.
And so in the car, he had all the things that the
Medications?
the car, they had the clothes for him, his wife, and the child. And there was also a piggy bank that people were alleging was something fetish, like a small coffin. There was just a piggy bank for the wife. She said she heard that what was happening. Her husband called her to say this was happening. She said she got there trying to rescue her son. The mob wouldn't let her, that they even used planks to beat her, that his siblings, that they were just watching him as he was dying in his pool of blood. I thought...
It's such a sad story.
So, of course, she's asking the government to... investigate
story
this
and
all those
find
people that were
those people.
involved, they catch them.